The international community has been quick to react to the escalation in Serbia. NATO has already stressed its readiness to intervene in the country, with the EU foreign policy chief stating that the European bloc will help to regulate the conflict.
Open issues should be addressed through EU-facilitated dialogue and focus on comprehensive normalization of relations between Kosovo and Serbia, essential for their EU integration paths.
The Kosovo force is prepared to intervene if stability is jeopardized in the north of Kosovo. NATO also continues to fully support the normalization process between Pristina and Belgrade through the EU-facilitated dialogue and calls all parties to continue negotiations. The Kosovo force will take whatever measures are necessary to keep a safe and secure environment in Kosovo at all time, in line with its UN mandate.
Well, for more on the situation, let's cross over live now to RT's journalist Jelena Milincic joining us from Serbia. What's the situation in the country right now? Can you bring us up to date on how things are developing?
Well, actually, it's been quite a rough night for Serbian people, not only on Kosovo, but here as well, where I am, which is Belgrade. And actually, this Saturday has been very tense, and even the Serbian president is saying that we're going to have a very rough couple of months ahead of us. Actually, this is not something new, and this is not the first time that people on Kosovo are facing this kind of pressure. And as the president said himself, the very important thing now is to try to preserve peace by any cost, and actually not to give in all these pressures and provocation by so-called Kosovo government and everything they've been trying to do, because people on Kosovo have been suffering this kind of situation. There have been pressures and aggressions all the time. The story about license plates where people which are Serbian cannot use their own license plates has been going on for a while. The new thing are these actually travel documents that they will have to receive if they try to cross what they call border, and we actually called administrative crossings. But actually it's been very tense, and yesterday on Saturday they were war sirens from 5 p.m. In Kosovo, for example, in the town of Mitrovica. I've been talking to some people. They actually didn't know what was happening. They felt the pressure. They knew something was going on. They felt a bigger presence of police in the region, but they were advised to stay at home. And then the sirens went off again at 10 p.m. So before the president appeared and said that this ban on Serbian documents, on IDs and license plates was actually delayed or postponed for the 1st of September, people couldn't actually come.
Do you think that the decision to postpone restrictions on Serbian documents will help to de-escalate tensions, or do you expect that the real boiling point has really just been pushed back a month?
I think it's been pushed back a month, and the thing that the government is waiting for now is new negotiations with Pristina, which are taking place in Brussels. That's actually the only way they can work through this situation, you know, because there is still Resolution 1244, by which Kosovo is not, it is still part of Serbia, actually. And as the president said yesterday, he thanked Russia for its reaction, and he also called on international community and all the countries that recognized Kosovo independence to think again about international law and what they've been doing. So this decision to take up that ban for a month is just going to postpone everything that's been going on for a while. I don't think that these people will stop being pressured, and actually the whole point of everything that's happening is to expel and to make people, like very few thousands of people, of Serbian people that stayed on Kosovo, actually to go away, to flee the country, to flee their own country.
Earlier, we did hear from the Serbian president, who said that Serbia will win if Serbs are persecuted, bullied or killed. What do you think he meant by this statement, and what are the risks of a new war breaking out?
Well, actually, no one wants this to happen. You know, Serbia has been in a war for a long time. But what he meant by this is that Serbia won't let people from Kosovo to pressure them, and the people of Serbia cannot take this aggression anymore. What he said is actually that Serbia will react if it comes to worse.
NATO's peacekeepers are in the region, of course, and have pledged to intervene themselves if necessary. What does the population feel about NATO potentially getting involved, and to what extent do people blame NATO and the EU for the current crisis?
Well, they are actually blaming NATO, and this situation developed after so-called Kosovo government has been meeting in Washington with people, So Serbian people are blaming them for everything that's happening, but there is KFOR that are NATO forces actually that work on Kosovo, and actually that's the thing. There was a meeting yesterday at Serbian headquarters at General Staff, where Serbian President and Ministry representatives of Ministry of Defense have met with KFOR, which is actually NATO's organization that is trying to keep peace there. Actually, for now, that's the only people that are trying to, to step between Serbs and people Albanians. For example, there is a town called Kosovska Mitrovica that we've been talking about, the one that is divided in two by a bridge, and KFOR forces have to be there to try to not let it come to any escalations, But at the end, NATO is the organization that started all of this, in 1999, when they bombed Serbia and imposed all these measures that have been happening there.
And not only that, we saw back in 2021 that Serbia faced a similar situation when Pristina banned cars with the Serbian plates that were entering the self-proclaimed republic. Is the current situation any different to that one?
The situation is a little bit more serious now because that ban is still on. We're talking about license plates being banned right now again, but there are more. Serbian people cannot use their own IDs. And by the resolution 1244, Kosovo, as I already said, is part of Serbia. So, there is one thing that the Serbian president said yesterday. He's been accused from the part of so-called Kosovo government that he is, making all these tensions. And he said that, there is no way Serbia can attack Kosovo because that would be like attacking our own country, And I think that people do feel frustrated being on their own land and not being able to use their own IDs, and actually there have been some words about, taking their documents on the border. They try to, on the administrative crossing, they try to cross it with their own license plates or IDs. But I have to say also that we heard from Serbian Prime Minister Ana Brnabić also saying that this is unilateral decision of Kurti, who is supposed Prime Minister of Kosovo, because there are still negotiations going on, and everyone would like this situation to be ended on negotiations and not like this, not by violent way.
Certainly not, but this is a story that we will be keeping abreast of. RT journalist Jelena Milincic, thank you very much for joining us.